Today you are going to search for and edit your picture for your succulent drawing. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go to images.google.com to search for a picture. And you're going to search for a succulent. Now, you can see that there's lots of different options that pop up. You don't want a drawing. You don't want art, clip art. We want an actual photograph. So when I search, I also want it to not be from far away. So I'm actually going to search succulent close-up photo. There's different combinations of words that you use that will come up with different images. Now, lots of different pictures are going to come up. The first thing you want to do is you want to filter out the small pictures because we don't want these to get pixelated when we go in and crop them. So up here it says Tools. You click Tools and it says Size. And you're going to select Large. And that'll make sure that the size of the picture isn't too small so that when we print it, it won't get pixelated. Now, as you can see here, immediately it comes up all different images. Succulents are these really nice type of plant. They don't need a lot of water. They tend to have these really great radial symmetric designs where it sort of radiates out from a center. And they come in a variety of colors. Sometimes if you know that you want to make it certain color, you can search. You can see on the top it says pink succulent. You can search green, you can search purple, you can search blue. You can kind of play around multicolored. You want to make sure that you are sort of close up to it. If you pick one that looks like this, there's too many little things, so you'd have to zoom in too close to get closer. But at the same time, if you pick one that's maybe already too cropped, you don't have as many options. You also want to avoid ones that have writing on it. It's called a watermark because that'll be distracting. These colors, take your time to really scroll down and see the one that you like. Now avoid something like this that is obviously already a drawing or a piece of artwork. And I'm going to click on this one. Okay, and on the side here, I'm going to hit View Image. Should put it in another tab. And now I'm going to Alt-click on a Chromebook. It's Alt-click to have a little screen pop up, and I am going to Save Image. Okay, and it just downloads it. Now I am going to make a new tab, and I am going to go to a website called Pixlr, Pixlr.com. Okay, now there are different options. There's different versions of Pixlr. You want to pick the middle one, the one that says Pixlr E, the editor. Okay, so I'm going to click on that. Now, if there's some pop-up things, just X out of that. Now you're going to hit Open Image. And find where you saved the pictures. And hit Open. Okay, so there's my picture. You're going to look over on the left-hand side at this tool. I'm hovering over it. It says Crop. Crop means to cut off at the edge. So we're going to use that to zoom in and cut off some of the extra stuff we don't want. So I'm going to click that. This little box appears around the outside. When you first open it up, it says free. There's no constraints, meaning I can crop it with any dimensions. I can make it as weirdly, tall and thin or more of a square. But we don't want that. For our project, we needed a certain proportions. So at the top, instead, I'm going to hit ratio. And the ratio that we need is 5:8. So I can enter that here, width 5, height 8. And you can see how that's, if you want it to be tall. Now, if I want it to be wide instead, I can go 8 width and 5 height. Doesn't really matter. But now when I go in, you can see that it keeps those proportions. It doesn't make it too square or too long. Okay, so when I kind of hover and it looks more like arrows in all 4 directions, then I click and move. Oh, let's try that again. There we go. See, now I can move the box around. Notice also, you can't tell, but I have my finger pressed down and this grid appeared. When I let go, the grid disappears. When I click, the grid reappears. This grid divides the picture up in thirds, both up and down and side to side. This is called the rule of thirds. And the rule of thirds states that if you have something in the middle, that can look nice, but sometimes it can look a little bit less dynamic. If you have something way off to the side, like right now, this part here is way off to the side. If I were to crop that, sometimes that can look like too distracting, having it too close to the edge. So the rule of thirds says that if you put something of interest along one of the lines of a third of the way over, or a third of the way up or down, it's more interesting. Especially that corner. If you look at the corner of where that grid meets, that's a really good place to put something. So if I were to put this sort of center here, it looks dynamic. It gives it just off to the side enough to be interesting, but not so far that it looks like it's like too far, like falling off. And it gives this nice effect. Now you might prefer it to be, there we go, more centered. And you can see the difference. More centered means the whole thing kind of radiates out more. When you move it over, it gives a little bit more of a dynamic look. Now when you're picking how much to crop, don't do too much. If you have it really far away and really large, that's more that you have to draw, and everything becomes a little bit more difficult. However, you don't want to zoom in so far that you don't have anything of interest. Like that's not that interesting because you cropped too much out. So you want something in the middle. And again, I'm putting that right at the intersection. And I kind of like that. I'm going to hit enter to accept the crop. Now, if looking at it without the distraction of everything else, if I decide I don't like it, if I go over to the side here to history, I can go back a step and I can undo it. But I like that. So this time it's just zoomed in a little bit more. Make sure it's not pixelated when you zoom in. And if you like it, then you're going to go to File, Save. It automatically saves it as a JPEG at high quality. It says 90. I like to put it up to 100. Let's make it as good quality as possible. And you're going to hit Save As. And it's going to save. It automatically, for me, saves to my drive. I don't want it to be this random numbers down here. So I'm going to rename it my last name. And I will say, maybe you can write Dovis, or your last name, and then art project. Or art photo, or plant, or however you will remember it. And then you hit save. Okay, and it should save to your drive. And then you're going to go to your Google Classroom and go to the assignment and upload this to the assignment where it says to upload it.